Welcome back to Goat Stadiums. It's December, and we're checking in on Camp Nou construction progress. This week's update brings mixed results. While Lamella installation continues advancing rapidly on the lateral zones, several areas show minimal movement since last week. Weather conditions in Barcelona are expected to worsen later this week, which could impact concrete pours and exterior work. Let's dive into what's actually happening on site and see where the project stands heading into the holiday period. Starting with the lateral zone, most pillars still require their final concrete pour at the top section. Scaffolding remains erected around these pillars specifically to allow workers to install formwork panels for completing the concrete work. No significant changes have occurred in the lower sections since last week. Support structures remain in place and material removal continues at a steady pace. Higher up, protective safety nets behind the prefabricated stands are being removed, indicating these sections are becoming safer and ready for the next construction phases. Workers are actively engaged on beams and structural elements, with multiple elevated platforms positioned throughout the area. The Lamella facade installation shows the most dramatic progress this week. On the lateral zone's front view, at least 10 lamellas are now installed up to the first cantilever level, compared to just 2 the previous day. Workers continue placing additional units, with some only partially fixed. Below the lamellas, false ceiling structure, work advances steadily, supported by active cranes and elevated platforms. Painting work is nearly complete in background sections, with only small areas awaiting finishing touches. Black paint application on block walls and beams significantly enhances the stadium's visual appeal compared to bare concrete surfaces. Preparations for joining gaps between Lamella sections are underway. At ground level in the south goal area, workers are welding and installing anchoring systems for vertical Lamella supports. 3 anchors have been installed on a key beam, with noticeable width differences between units. The forklift operates near brackets, and workers inspect pipework throughout the sector. However, Lamella supports themselves haven't been fully placed in this zone yet. Elevated platforms continue moving prefabricated stands and materials to various locations. One worker was observed installing an unidentified floor material, possibly insulation or protective coating, though the exact type remains unclear from visual inspection. Installation involves spray application or similar techniques. The parking ramp shows steady progress with ongoing reinforcing steel installation over plastic sheet covering. Significantly more rebar has been placed under protective white plastic compared to the previous day. A portion of the retaining wall on the left side still needs forming and concrete work. The construction pace remains consistent, though completion within this week depends entirely on weather conditions. Exterior zones are being prepared with expectations that block walls will be painted before additional facade elements are installed. The area around the future diamond-shaped feature has been substantially cleared, though some materials remain stored on site. The North Goal Zone, historically the quietest construction area, now displays increased activity levels. 2 elevated platforms flank a concreted pillar, with workers present on multiple levels. Supports for diagonal braces attached to pillars have been installed, but the diagonal braces themselves haven't been placed yet. A tower crane recently lifted a new prefabricated stand into position. Public access doors are prepared and positioned in the corner sector. This marks a notable shift from previous weeks when this zone showed minimal movement. The increased workforce and equipment suggests this area is entering an accelerated construction phase heading into the new year. The Tribune area shows continued arrival of prefabricated stands via trailers. Escalators installed last week are now perfectly positioned, including units on upper cantilever levels. Elevated platforms remain active around elevator shafts being prepared adjacent to the escalators. Scaffolding stays in place with some platform activity, though fewer changes are visible compared to previous days. Workers were spotted enjoying panoramic views from the 3rd cantilever level. The Tribune zone's progress remains steady but less dramatic than the lateral and south goal areas. material stockpiles near the diamond zone await future use, with the host expressing anticipation for upcoming work in this section. The corner sector shows reduced worker presence compared to weeks ago, consistent with completion of prior construction tasks. A concrete pump sits idle alongside ongoing reinforcement installation for temporary fencing supports around formworks. Previously excavated floor sections remain untouched since last week, with no new concrete poured, possibly due to weather or scheduling priorities. Large quantities of materials, including stairs and lamellas, are stored nearby. A truck arrived carrying what appear to be glass panels, though confirmation remains uncertain. Glazing supports have been installed behind protective nets, visible when platforms are in use. Rebar rods for slabs are being placed systematically. This week's Camp Nou construction update reveals uneven progress across different stadium zones. Lamella installation advances rapidly on lateral sections with over 10 units now in place, transforming the exterior appearance. The south goal area focuses on anchoring system installation, while the parking ramp steadily receives reinforcing steel coverage. Most notably, the north goal zone breaks its quiet pattern with increased workforce and equipment deployment. However, several areas including corner sectors and excavated floor sections show no advancement since last week. Weather forecasts predict rain later this week, potentially delaying concrete pours and exterior work. With no matches scheduled, construction will proceed intensively Monday through Friday, making next week crucial for maintaining momentum before the holiday break. If you enjoyed this construction update, hit like and subscribe to GOAT Stadiums for weekly Camp Nou progress reports. Thanks for watching.